The Biden administration is accusing Russia of attempting to interfere in the upcoming presidential election. The Justice Department has charged 2 employees of a Russian-backed media network, accusing them of illegally funneling millions of dollars to a Tennessee-based company to publish propaganda videos online. The DOJ has also seized 32 internet domains it says the Russian government and Russian actors have used to influence the U.S. election. Here's some of what Attorney General Merrick Garland said yesterday about the actions the U.S. is taking.
The American people are entitled to know when a foreign power is attempting to exploit our country's free exchange of ideas in order to send around its own propaganda. The Justice Department's message is clear. We have no tolerance for attempts by authoritarian regimes to exploit our democratic system of government. We will be relentlessly aggressive in countering and disrupting attempts by Russia and Iran, as well as China or any other foreign malign actor to interfere in our elections and undermine our democracy.
Yeah, you know, Willie, the thing that is so, well, obvious about this, not surprising, is we've all seen it for several years. Mm-hmm. There are people who are deliberately or knowingly or unknowingly promoting Russian propaganda that comes straight from the Kremlin. People whose TV shows have been pushed by the Kremlin to go on RT because they are spouting Russian propaganda points. There have been people that we've seen on Twitter for years, well-known people with big followings, who are clearly pushing Russian propaganda points. Of course, one of the great ironies about this is not really an irony; it's just cynicism, and it's just unfortunately un-American. These are the same people that get out, a lot of them, that get out and talk about the Russian hoax. Oh, it's a Russian. Oh, there's no. Come on, what are you talking about? There's no connection between, this and Russia. And Russia's not trying to. Always apologizing for Russia, always apologizing for Putin, always claiming that Vladimir Putin is not the bad guy, that Zelensky's actually the bad guy, like the historian who said, oh, Churchill's the bad guy in World War II, not Adolf Hitler. Like this has been going on for years. The kids call it gaslighting. And now we found out at least a few of these who are just straight on working for the Russian government, again, either knowingly or unknowingly.
Yeah, these are the people online, like you say, Joe, who have condemned what they call the Russia hoax, despite all the information we had in front of us from the Mueller report and now from this indictment, but also who are perceived as truth tellers outside the mainstream media. You're not getting the real story. You're not getting the true story. Come to my YouTube channel and I'll tell you the truth. Well, it turns out some of those prominent among them were complete dupes for the Russian government. RT, which is the state-run media in Russia, was directly feeding and spending a lot of money to American influencers on the conservative side to feed this nonsense, these lies into our political bloodstream. And according to this indictment, one unnamed contributor with 2.4 million YouTube followers on their own channel received $400,000 a month plus a $100,000 signing bonus along with performance incentives just for making 4 videos a week for a Tennessee-based company. Another unnamed commentator was paid $100,000 per video. That's to take the propaganda and put it on their outlets for Americans to consume. For more on this, let's bring in NBC News Justice and Intelligence correspondent Ken Delanian and NBC News Chief International Correspondent Keir Simmons. Good morning to you both. Ken, I'll start with you. So lay out, if you can, what DOJ says happened here and how exactly it worked, how this information got from RT, a Russian state media organization, into the hands and onto the channels of these conservative influencers here in the U.S.
Hey, good morning, Willie. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, it's a remarkable scheme. $10 million is how much the Justice Department says was funneled into this one Tennessee company that's been identified as Tenet Media. These guys were making a lot of money. And when I asked on a DOJ background call, what was the impact here? How many Americans did this propaganda reach? They said, look, it's really hard to gauge, but like this company in a short time amassed 16 million views for its videos on YouTube. So it had an effect. And some experts are saying they only need 1 or 2 videos to go viral to have a real impact on American politics. So what's very clear from the indictment, despite, as you said, people calling this part of the Russia hoax, but you read the indictment, it's very clear there's a mountain of evidence that RT and these Russian executives were funneling money secretly to these American conservatives who founded this organization in Tennessee. And then they were then creating videos and taking their cues from RT, particularly on things like the Russian line on the Ukraine war, and pumping it out to the American public without mentioning that this was Russian propaganda. And now the Americans in this scheme are not charged. It's the 2 Russians who are in Russia. But the U.S. Actually acted more broadly yesterday beyond just this indictment, and they seized 32 internet domains that have been used by the Russians for propaganda. They also sanctioned other people, including the chief editor of RT, who's a longtime Putin crony. The good news here, the interesting thing about this, is it shows how much has changed since 2016, when the U.S. government and the FBI essentially watched helplessly as the Russians interfered in that election, both by spouting false narratives on social media and by hacking and leaking and dumping material into the bloodstream. Now they're much more proactive. Like this thing started only really less than a year ago. It really launched in November 2023, and it looks like the FBI was onto them almost from the start, and they carefully amassed evidence, and now they're blowing the whistle on it. And likewise, the Iranian attempts to hack into the campaigns, they flagged those right away, and so far we haven't seen any great impact from that. But it also shows how much more complicated the media ecosystem is than back in 2016. There are so many people now so prepared to believe what this Russian propaganda is saying, and then when the government flags it, go online now. These same people are saying this is a lie. You can't believe this Justice Department indictment. This is all part of the Russia hoax. So it's a tough problem, but the FBI and the Justice Department are trying to get out there in front of it.